Hello, beautiful ladies, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be doing a get ready with me answering your relationship questions. As you can see, I have nothing on my face. I don't know if you can tell, but I have a cold, so that's why I sound like this. I had the flu already, and then I got this cold like 2 weeks later. I mean, every time I fly in this season, I always get sick, so I kind of expected that to happen. But oh my gosh, I'm just like, please, I cannot get sick again. So I asked you guys on Instagram and on Twitter to ask me any relationship questions you had about my relationship, about your relationships, and I just wanted to see what kind of things you guys were wondering about and see if I could answer any of those questions while we got ready together. So I'm just gonna get started here, and the first question I have is advice on how to tell if it's worth it to enter into a relationship. That is an interesting one. P.S. This is a new foundation brush from Wet n Wild. I'm just trying it out for the first time on camera, so I don't know how it's gonna work. No one uses these kinds of foundation brushes anymore except Lisa Eldridge. Check her out. She's on YouTube. She is like an incredible makeup artist, and she's like the only person I've ever seen use a brush like this. So I was just kind of curious. I was thinking, you know, nobody uses these anymore, so what, are they good? We're gonna see. In response to your question, you know, that sounds like a question that's based on maybe a friendship that's turning into a relationship. Because getting into a relationship, how do you know if it's a good idea to get into a relationship? What I would say is that you always have to consider a couple of things when you're getting into a relationship. Is it long term? Like, can you see a future there? Do you see this guy marrying him or having his children? And I know most people don't think of these things nowadays, but at the end of the day, I don't think you want to go into a relationship with the expectation that you're going to get hurt and that the whole thing's going to fall apart. So if you are not thinking about the long-term kind of goal, I don't see how you wouldn't get hurt, because maybe these big questions would have been easily answered early on. So it would be worth entering into the relationship if you guys are compatible, if you see a future there. And I think, let's say this is somebody who is considering turning a friendship into a relationship. I know that there's a lot of fear in those kinds of situations because you don't want to lose the friendship over a relationship. But I think if you have that chemistry already from a friendship and you have compatibility as well, I think it's worth exploring, and it's more important to try and see if you have a future as a couple than it is to kind of just always stay friends, but really wonder if there was something more there. Quick pause though. This is great. Why don't most people use brushes like this anymore? I feel like this looks fantastic, and it was so easy and quick. I'm kind of obsessed with this, and this was like $2, I think, so I like that. The next question I have is, how do you resolve a tough conflict? Well, I want to start off by saying, if it's a tough conflict, it's not going to be easy to resolve. So just be easy on yourself there. It's not going to be simple. I don't have like an easy solution to it. But there are good ways to make it easier. My husband and I would say we're really good at communicating with each other. And that's the most important thing, is not getting too heated and not starting to like let the situation escalate. You always want to make sure that you're communicating effectively and that the other person can hear what you're saying. If you start getting really angry and up in the other person's face, they can't hear you. They're just kind of feeling this attack coming at them. And the easiest way to kind of deal with these conflicts is to really talk and listen and try and empathize with the other person's position. Because if you're just, this is my position and I can't hear what you're saying, they really are going to be feeling the exact same way. They're not going to be able to hear what you're saying, and it's just going to hit a wall. You always want to be really empathetic to what the other person is trying to get across. When you're listening and actively listening, not just listening so that you can respond and say your side, you'll probably come to a better resolution than if you're just fighting to get your point across. Just always be kind to each other and try and understand the other person's point of view. So the next question is my thoughts on long distance. Well, I have a lot of thoughts on long distance because my husband and I got married when we had been long distance our entire relationship. I'm currently looking for a brush. That's why I'm looking down. I did 2 of my relationships long distance, me and my husband, and another serious relationship I was in before my husband. And I learned a lot from both. But my most important piece of advice, the thing that I learned, this is my advice to everyone who's in a long distance relationship, okay? Spend 2 weeks together early on in your relationship. Don't go 6 months and never have spent more than a weekend. You want to spend 2 weeks together early on just to see and make it sure that you're not going to get annoyed with each other. Now that sounds really funny, but the first guy that I dated, we had a really nice relationship, but we didn't really spend a lot of time together. And it wasn't until 9 months into our relationship that we spent 2 weeks together. And it turned out we really just didn't have that chemistry that 2 people have when they hang out a lot. We didn't get along as well when we had spent that time together. And so I just made that a rule for myself for life, that if I was ever going to do long distance again, I was going to make sure that we spent 2 weeks together early on. And that's what I did. So with Jacob, we started dating, and then 2 weeks after we met, I went away for 10 weeks to perform. And when I got back, we spent 2 full weeks together. And then within another month or 2, we spent a full month together. And so that was really important to me because I knew that it's easy to hide things in long distance. It's also incredible for getting to learn a lot about somebody and not having activities and the physical stuff get in the way. So I am pro long distance if you do it smart. Don't do it silly. Don't avoid the big questions because you're long distance. But if you really care about someone, you should absolutely go for it. The next question is, how do I get over being so picky? Height and teeth don't even matter, but I can't get over it. With the right guy, those things don't matter. When you meet somebody who you hit it off with and you have that chemistry and you're compatible, those things don't matter because, my husband is a ½ inch taller than I am. So it's not like I got this guy and I'm tall, I'm 5'8". So it's not like I married a guy who was 6'3", even though, I was attracted to taller guys before. Jacob was the right guy, so it didn't matter. I think it's important to just recognize that you're not perfect, and the guy you're going to end up with is not going to be perfect, even if he's stunning. No person's perfect. And looks fade. So it really is something that it's hard to get over, I understand. I think as you get older, things start to matter less a little bit. Of course, there are certain things that might be hard for you to get over and are more understandable when it comes to looks, but overall, height doesn't matter. Teeth don't really matter. I mean, if the guy and you hit it off, great. I think that the first thing is maybe don't turn down dates from guys who just have one thing off. If there's a guy who's a little bit shorter than you maybe still say yes to that date and see if you guys hit it off. And maybe you'll notice that you actually like him more than you expected to. But I think that's the first thing. Don't close the door to guys immediately. Give him a chance to prove to you that he's actually more than just his height or his teeth or whatever it is. And then maybe you'll like him for him and not for just some silly reason. So this next question is a good one. Do you think people are truly meant for each other, learn to love each other, or some combination? I like this question. Well, I will say right off the bat, I do not believe in soulmates. So I think I used to. And then I met my husband and we did hit it off immediately. And theoretically, you could call us soulmates, but we work hard at our relationship and we care about the same things and we want to raise a family together. And it's not just, soulmate makes everything seem like everything's going to be solved when you meet that person. That's never the case. Relationships are hard. And my other issue with saying soulmate is, what if you're married and the fire goes away or something? The passion is gone and you meet someone else and you're like, oh my God, that person was really my soulmate all along. And I met the person that I'm married to before I ever met my soulmate and it's all a mistake. Does that give you an excuse to leave your partner? To leave your husband? I don't think so, because that's crazy. Marriage is hard and also lovely, and it means that you have to put in effort. So if you treat marriage and soulmates like it's easy, everything's going to be harder actually, because you're not going to understand that sometimes you won't agree. Soulmates are not just somebody who you agree with all the time or anything like that. Marriage isn't like that. And so I am a proponent of, you meet the right I think maybe there are a few people who you could end up with, and you meet one of them and you make that person the person that you're going to work hard with to maintain a relationship, because you have to choose every day to be in that relationship. I actually really liked that in Friends. Monica and Chandler, there's an episode where they talk about soulmates, and Monica and Chandler both say that they don't believe in soulmates. And I actually was really moved by that, because you want, like I said, you need to make that choice every day, whereas soulmates makes it seem like it just happens to you. Okay, this person says, how do you split the holidays between your families? Top of the mind this time of year. Well, we're lucky because Jacob's family is more excited about the non-Jewish holidays, and my family is more excited about the Jewish holidays. So we go to Jacob's family for Thanksgiving and July 4th, and we go to my family for the Jewish holidays, like Passover and Sukkot. And so we don't really have to argue. I know a lot of people will kind of switch off every other year. They'll go home for Thanksgiving or they'll go to their in-laws. And I think that's also a great solution. What's your favorite meal to eat together? Dinner. And we enjoy, is it like the meal or the food? Because we love pizza. I just made stew last night and it's amazing. It's delicious. We love eating that together. But dinner. The next question is, what age did you start dating? Love your blog. Well, thank you. That's a funny question, actually. I did not start, actually, I just realized. I had a boyfriend in high school, so I guess I started dating at 15, but I don't consider that dating. In my head, I was dating for marriage. Let's be honest. Even at 15, I was like, do we have a future? But I was 15, so didn't really know what that meant. I didn't start dating after that, though, until I was 19. Because again, I was dating for marriage. So I was looking for more of a long-term commitment. This next question says, my boyfriend, 3 months, I'm his first GF, says he cares about me lots, but doesn't quite know if it's love. Good, bad, or should I just keep loving him? I really want to. I think it depends how he said it. If it sounds like he's nervous, and he just kind of wants to understand it, and you think that in the next couple of months or even month, he'll have the confidence to say, absolutely, I love you, I think you can give him that time. If he seems kind of like he doesn't want to make a commitment, and I think you can probably tell that for yourself, then I would not stay with a guy like that, because he is not interested in a long-term commitment, and he may be kind of looking to date around a little bit more than just one girl. How did he say it? Did he say it like, I like you, but I don't know if I love you? That's crazy. Or was it more like, I honestly just don't know? I think with a little bit more time I'll know, though. Where it was more like, I can see me understanding this feeling more over time, then I would understand that and give him a little bit of extra time. But it really is just, what kind of a guy is he? And do you see it having a future? And if you don't, then you do have to say and be harsh with yourself and say, okay, this isn't a really long-term solution, and he really doesn't want more than just a fling. So good luck, and I'm sure you'll figure it out. This next question is, how do I find someone who shares my faith other than going to my place of worship? I think that's a good question, actually. What I would say is go to places where that person might go who shares your values. So if you are interested in volunteering because of your faith, go to places that have volunteering, and maybe you'll meet someone there who shares your faith. Or go to a political meeting that lines up with your faith and see if maybe you meet someone there. Go somewhere that lines up with your values, and you'll probably find somebody there who also lines up with your faith. The next question is, how do you tell your girlfriend that she should try to exercise more? Well, that's a hard conversation, but I don't think that's off limits. And I know a lot of people would probably be offended by me saying that, but I don't. I think that that's a conversation that you get to have with your significant other. My husband and I talk about that a lot. He actually just bought me an exercise book, and it wasn't offensive. He bought it for me because I didn't like my current workout, and he was so sweet that he went online and did some research to find something that I would like more, and he bought that for me. And I thought that was really nice. So I understand that that's a hard and tricky conversation to have, but what I would recommend is talking about health before fitness, talking about health before looks, really. It has to be something that you kind of say in tandem with yourself. You know, you never want to be like, you need to be healthier. I'm fit, but you're not. Don't ever do that. I would say that the best thing to do is to say something like, hey, I want to go to the gym. I feel like I haven't been as healthy as I could be lately. I'd really like for you to join me. I think we should try and be healthy together because it's kind to each other for us to be healthy, so we don't have to take care of the other when they're sick or when these things happen because you're not taking care of yourself physically. So I would recommend that we go together. Like, not necessarily recommend, but I would love if we worked out together, and it would mean a lot to me. And see how she responds to that, because if you make it more about health and not about looks and not, you need to exercise more because, you know, you're looking a little paunchy, no one wants to hear that, then I think you can probably get away with saying it in a very kind way. And, you know, maybe you'll end up working out together and having an exercise buddy, which is also great. The next one is overbearing, dominant mother-in-laws. I have to preface this with I am so lucky because I have the best mother-in-law. Like, I have a great relationship with her. So this is not from experience. But what I would suggest is just being kind, but always kind of staying firm to what you believe in. So if she's kind of crossing over lines that are going to mess up things for you and your relationship with your husband, just be firm, but be nice. Say, you know, she says, I want us all to go out to dinner. And you're like, we can't afford that today. Just say, you know, I'm really sorry, Mom, but I just can't, we can't make that work this month. Can I make dinner at home for us all? You know, whatever it is, just be honest, be kind, but be firm. This next question is, I know musical prowess runs in your family. Does your husband play any instruments? He doesn't. He's learning how, I'm actually kind of teaching him how to sing slowly but surely, just not like set up voice lessons, but we're working together on it. And we're also just practicing piano together because he plays a little bit. He used to play when he was a kid and he doesn't really play anymore, so he wanted to pick that up again. But he is not an entirely musical person. I never expected that to be the person I would end up with. But it was because it didn't matter at the end of the day, which was a big surprise to me. And he is so sweet and is like watching videos and things to try and understand opera more because obviously most people don't have a huge understanding of opera. So he is doing his best to understand it more. He reads my blog and watches my videos about it. And, you know, he's very sweet. The last question I'm going to answer is from Twitter, so we're hopping on over there, and it says, in your last video, you mentioned that when you were younger in your Orthodox community, everyone always talked about how badly they wanted to get married. Do you think it was unhealthy or good to be fixated on marriage? Also, what are some other ways growing up Orthodox influenced your opinions, thoughts, and approach on relationships, love, and marriage? Long question, but a good question. I would say that the fixation on marriage is good and bad. Just like most things are good and bad. The good is that it really gave me an understanding of where I was aiming. It didn't feel like dating was just random, which I really don't like that philosophy personally. And it meant that I was always clear about what my end goals were. But the bad thing was that it made you feel a little bit anxious to get married, and it made you not value your single life in the same way. I don't think that's necessarily the fault of the Orthodox community. I do think that that is something that women kind of internalize, but I don't think that was like pushed on us or anything. I benefited in a way from being in the secular world because then when I was single, it meant that I liked being single, but it also gave me direction, and I really appreciate that because I knew that I was dating for a reason and I was going to get married and that was going to be the end goal, and it was like super important, and I feel that I'm very lucky that I view marriage this way. As far as growing up Orthodox and it influencing the way that I view marriage, it absolutely did. It meant that I viewed marriage as, this beautiful gift that would allow me to have children and would be part of a community. I would say that being Orthodox made me love the idea of marriage, and I think that's kind of rare in today's day and age. It made me really excited at the prospect. It never felt like an end finish line, like I was not going to be able to have fun anymore, which I think a lot of people feel, but instead it made me feel like that's the beginning, and that's really cool. Not that my life didn't begin before marriage, but there was this other really cool part of my life that hadn't even started yet, and that was really exciting to me. As well, I like the Orthodox view of marriage. We waited until we got married to be physical with each other, and I loved that. I thought it was really special, and I thought it was, incredibly important as well. And I like the idea of taking care of my husband and hosting all the time. We're really active members in our community, and one of the Orthodox really cool things is that you have your own home and you get to share it with people. I'm constantly cooking meals and hosting people for dinner, and I love that. I mean, you get to do that as a single person, but even more so as a wife. So I do love that. And that's the finished makeup look. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Let me know in the comments down below if you had any questions that I didn't answer, or if you have any other relationship advice or things like that. If you think I answered something and you would have answered it in a different way, please put it in the comments below. Please subscribe to my channel and my blog if you haven't already. Head over to my Twitter and Instagram and follow me there, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!